Hello everyone, welcome. It's another episode of The Gliders on Bet WGB TV. My name is Emmanuel Sebastian, standing in today as your host in place of Joy. She had a brief cameo last time out, but definitely still recharging wherever she is. It's a good time once again on the show. Like I always say, limited on set, but not limited when it comes to our ideas concerning the sports across board. I have Mikolo with me and the returning Timothy Daimbo. Let me start with you, Timothy. How's it been for you in the last couple of days? You know, your outings, your endeavors, what you've been up to?
Yeah, good to be back. I missed last week, and last week was preceding week before the MPFL started, and of course at Ikorodu City was a week of running around where some people had to work. You know, when you say, okay, I'm working overnight, and then you are getting very, very late. So it was, registration of players, signing of players, shooting of content, unveiling of players, and all of those things. So it was a lot for different clubs. But of course, I can only speak for Ikorodu City, but I know that, okay, across other clubs, that's how it's going to be for clubs like Shooting Stars and the like. So especially when you are losing a lot of your players who played the last season and they are bringing in new players. So it was a lot of drama around player education, like media education and all of those things. So yeah, interesting week. And then had a few family hangouts over the weekend on Saturday. Then Sunday watched little football, although I went out too. And then we're back again for the Gliders.
Talking about Ikorodu City and your new role, how's it been for you? What's the experience like so far? The tenure, is it different from what you've experienced or what you've been doing?
So
exactly, that's it. So how is it like working with a football club?
Working with a football club, of course, I'm really based with the academy more. And
still the football club.
Specifying.
Yeah,
there's a whole lot the drama around. It's not a case of you have to deliver every day. You have to deliver every day. When there's something to do, you have to come up with something, brainstorm. Either writing a preview now, then the next day you're going out to probably shoot the content. The next day you're thinking of what is supposed to go on social media pages. You're thinking of the video of a game, or probably a save that a keeper made, or a dribble, a goal that was scored that you have to cut out and ensure that there's smooth running around it. So it's really fun working with a football club, and there are so many things in which, if you talk from an outside perspective, but when you're inside, there are so many ideas that you begin to understand the way things run. Like on Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday? I was speaking with the team doctor. And then it was a whole lot. He came in with a book. The thing was as filled as this. Was like a document of player registration where they have to players medical. Where you have to do a lot of tests and medical checkup ahead of the season. So there's so many things that you get to know when you work with a football club, and the experience has been very, very fun.
There's one person on set here who knows about working with football clubs. He's the man right in between us, sitting in the middle. Mikolo, good to have you back on the show. How's it been like the last couple of days for you?
Yeah, it's been really calm. Football is fully back, and for people that just watch, the euphoria started. But for people that work in football, I think the preparation sometimes beats the euphoria of the season starting. There's a whole lot of work to be done, from preparing decks, joining meetings, preparing jersey shoots, preparing announcements, player departures, and all of that. So getting involved with the football club is beyond just the kick of the football. That's where the fans look forward to. But I can tell you for a fact that people that work in football barely have off days. From the moment the season ended, you're looking to pre-season things, and then you're looking into things that are going to be going on when the season starts. For me, personally, I work with an academy as well, and then the football club. I major in the academy. I'm also part of the storytelling team for the football club, Sporting Lagos. So. Basically, the season has ended. We're looking forward to the NNL season. But my academy starts the TCC League in September. So I've been preparing lots of stuff. The players are back in camp. We also had a summer tournament. The boys went to Sweden for the Gothia Cup. So there's been lots of activities around the club. I was in camp this week preparing media plans and all of that. So really exciting to be working with the football club. I can't lie to you. The feeling is really big for me, especially the fact that I really love football. So. But this week, pretty chill. Arsenal, getting the job done. Much improved performance from last week, and then basically it's just been a chilled week actually.
Yeah, you've heard from the guys. I mean, we're not just here on the microphone talking. These guys are they are rich guys. If you see anywhere you see them, build them. You know, working with football clubs.
I working with passion.
If you see Toko anywhere,
working for passion.
Anyway, I can tell you for free. Build them anyway. You see them. These guys are not just on the
They're
mic.
just a small community club at Ikorodu City.
Please,
Anyway, guys, on the lighter note, we'll go on a very short break. That is just what to expect on the show. It promises to be an exciting time. And when we come back, we get into it very much quickly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. It is still the Gliders on Bets WGB TV, and we are on the way for the show. But just before we continue, as you can see on your screens, like we always say on every episode, you've got some bonus credit to claim if you sign up on the Bet WGB platform. Just use the promo code Gliders, GLIDERS, and you stand a chance for that promo code, that bonus credit rather, for you to enjoy the very best of the platform. And like I always say, bet responsibly. The season is very much underway, so take your time. You might want to think through before you place that very bet. But the very best of platforms is Bet WGB TV. Now back on the show, guys. The international break is not too far away from us. The very first of the season, and of course, Eric Shell, fresh from that Chan, travels with the Chan Eagles, will be very much back with the regular Super Eagles now, and he has released his squad to take on Rwanda and South Africa in that next international break. Let's look at that squad now. Let's dissect the squad. Let's start from the goalkeeping position. I mean, Mikolo, there's no better person to come to this one than you, because we've got Ebenezer Harcourt, who is making the squad. I mean, you are the very best man to tell us the story of this young lad, and how exciting is it for you to see Ebenezer Harcourt in that Super Eagles. We know it's a preliminary race. It might still be trimmed down and he might not make the final cut, but to make that first list, I mean, it's a huge one for the young lad.
I think it's progress on the part of Nigeria as well as on the part of the young man. As much as this is a very big win for Ebenezer himself, I think this is also a very big win for the Super Eagles. It's been a while we've had those kind of progressions, over the last couple of years. We've always complained about the fact that we don't have players that always progress from the levels, from the ranks, under 15, under 17. You see the likes of Götze, Mario Götze, the likes of Oscar, the likes of Neymar came to the under 17 in Nigeria in 2009, and then you could see the progression. Xhaka was in Nigeria with Switzerland in 2009, and you saw the progression up until getting into the Switzerland national team. The likes of Toni Kroos as well, you can always monitor their progress. So it's been a while we've seen somebody that went through the ranks just like that. The likes of Wanko Kanu, the likes of Mikel Obi, and then lately we've seen the likes of Chukwueze, we've seen the likes of Victor Osimhen as well. But it's been a while we've seen a goalkeeper rise through the ranks in that manner, that is considered a national investment. For example, there are countries that they take their youth football very seriously. They calm them, they monitor their progress from under 15, under 17, under 20. So for Ebenezer Harcourt, it's been a very beautiful run for him. For a goalkeeper that is that good, started with the Sporting Lagos Academy. I think he's also had a couple of runs before joining the Sporting Lagos Academy in 2023. He's been with Vandreza and been with a couple of clubs, just training, basically following his dad, because his dad is also a retired goalkeeper. His dad is currently the goalkeeper trainer of Eimba. Currently,
I mean, when I say you're the best person to tell us about this guy, I know
that
what
is
I'm
currently the goalkeeping trainer of Eimba, and then he has put him onto the path very early on, and then you could just see the rise, from playing the TCC League with the Sporting Lagos Academy as a 13-year-old guy, getting to the finals. I mean, the year from last year July to August this year is what you call progress, and you could see on the Sporting Lagos page, we did a graphics that tells the story of what the year in review has been for him, and I can't help but brag about the fact that the idea the fact that I just joined the meeting before coming to the studio, and I just got my props and my flowers. Shout out to my team lead for that. But it was just a very good idea that I gave to the team for us to document what his progress was like. So in July 2024, this guy played the TCC Cup final for an academy, then he went to the Gotia Cup in 2024 as well, July. Sporting Lagos Football Academy won the Gothia Puma Trophy in Sweden, and this guy kept penalties upon penalties, and I think that was the beginning of the rise for him. In the finals, saved 2 penalties in the semi-finals and all of that, and then it just come, and from then on it was just like under 20 call up. From under 20 call up, they went to the Wafu B. They won the Wafu B, and eventually went to the under 20 AFCON. In the under 20 AFCON, they got the bronze medal.
Under 17 call up too.
Yeah, he had under 17 call. No, he had under 20. So it was straight up
okay.
to the under 20. He didn't get to the under 17 level, but it was under 20 call up Wafu B. From Wafu B, they won the Wafu B tournament. From then on, they went to the AFCON earlier this year, the under 20 AFCON, and then they got bronze. And then in the quarterfinals, he saved 2 penalties in that quarterfinals before eventually getting injured, having to step out in the semi-finals, and then we lost that game. And then from then on, you could just see that because of the fact that they share training facilities with the Super Eagles, coincidentally, when Eric Chell came into the party, Ikene was always the base for both the under 20. You already know that the national team these days always camp in Ikene, and I think it caught the eye of Eric Chell.
Sure.
There's a level of likeness that Eric Chell has towards the young lad, and you could just see that from that moment it became something that I was really looking forward to. So at that point, he just knew that it was going to happen for him, and then he just saw that he called him to the Chan Eagles, even when the Wafu B under 20 was happening, and then we just thought that okay, probably he might miss the chance, and then but eventually unfortunately they lost out in the second Wafu B that they played earlier, and then the Super Eagles were also in dire need of a goalkeeper after the first 2 disappointments. And fortunately for him, the stars are aligning in his favor. He got to Zanzibar, impressed the coaches in camp, and then he was tasked with keeping that game against Congo. And then in keeping that game against Congo, he became the youngest ever Super Eagles player at just 15 years of age. He'll be 16 later this year, but at just 15 years of age, he becomes the youngest ever goalkeeper, the youngest ever player to play for the Super Eagles, and then he kept an impressive clean sheet. Now, also, the players came to the party, but you could also not deny how calm he was in goal to be able to get that one. So, keeping a clean sheet on the Super Eagles debut, and that from then on, it just felt like, but for the professional squad, I think nobody was expecting that. We knew it was going to come as a matter of time, maybe eventually, but we didn't know it was going to come this early. And just congratulations to the young man. I feel like it's also like a symbol of hope, right, to younger players, that you don't know what the year can look like. You could just be doing your thing in your academy a year ago, and barely a year after, you're already in the Super Eagles A team. And going by the discussion I had with a friend, looking at the goalkeepers that are on that provisional list, there's Stanley Wabali, Amas Obasoje, Adebayo Adeleye, and then there's Ebenezer. Now, if you actually look at it, eventually we all know who's going to be keeping for the squad. It definitely is going to be Stanley Wabali. So you just have that feeling that Eric Chell might just eventually say Ebenezer should be the 3rd goalkeeper in camp, since we already have the normal goalkeeper that's going to be keeping both games. So he could just be there for the experience, just for the fairy tale run to be complete. Imagine seeing a 15-year-old in the Super Eagles main A camp. And it just sends a very big message: football development, football structure, and all of the like. So it's a very nice one for him. Even if he doesn't make to the final list, I feel like this is really a proud moment for him, and we're all proud of him. I feel like the nation itself is proud of the growth that he's been able to record in the last 1 year, and we can't wait to see him on the biggest of stages.
Indeed, it's a very proud moment for him as well.
The sweet part about it is that even if he doesn't make the list, like Mikolo had said, you just know that it's not far off, and then in a sooner time, not even later, in a sooner time, then he's going to really get into that squad. Because it's really interesting that we see abroad, or in like England, Spain, whatever the places, we see younger guys, the way they bring it to integrate them into the team. Lamine Yamal was not 17 when he won the Euros with Spain. And that's a whole lot of team. We can see the likes of Ethan Nwaneri getting into England. We can see the likes of Max Daumann also making debuts for Arsenal at very, very young ages. So having Accord, a 15-year-old who will be 16 soon, into the Super Eagles team, also playing for his club Sporting Lagos, is really, really an interesting one. And we hope to see more things like this, so that it's, like Mikolo said, makes the younger ones continue to put in efforts, and hope that one day they also get into that fray.
Well, it doesn't get any easy for Ebenezer Harcourt. He's got Amas Basoge, Stanley Nwabali, and Adebayo Adele, who's making a return to the squad after he's moved to FC Volos. And so he's really, really strong when it comes to the goalkeeping department. Let's move now to the defenders. We're going to look at each segment quickly before going to our next topic. So for the defenders in the squad, there's the captain, William Troost-Ekong, Calvin Bassey, Ola Aino, Bright Osai Samuel, Bruno Oyemechi, Ugo Obu, Chidozie Awaziem, Felix Agu, and of course, Benjamin Fredericks, another young lad who's also really giving a good impression of himself for Eric Chell, also in the squad as well. And this is not like Ebenezer Harcourt. We might see Benjamin Fredericks in that final squad because, I mean, we saw him in the Unity Cup when he played for the Super Eagles.
I was going to say that I feel like he has had the best audition in playing in that Unity Cup. He was a very young lad, and then his own story is also very fantastic. The fact that he played for Moses Simon's academy in Kaduna, and eventually now sharing the pitch with Moses Simon, and he showed his quality in that final in the Unity Cup against Jamaica. And then you could just tell that this young lad is full of talent. He had the praises of everybody on the pitch, including the most senior players. I saw the likes of Wilfred Ndidi and everybody hugging him after that game in London, and you could just tell that they know that he's a very big part of the squad. And for a squad that is kind of having issues with our left back position, I say issues in the fact that probably Zaidu Sanusi has been having issues playing on the left. We also have Bruno Imechi, who is also, I don't think he's trusted enough by Eric Chell and some of the previous coaches. We saw
stark contrast to what we saw under Pesero. Bruno was really trusted.
Yeah, Bruno was really trusted. But even at the AFCON, he didn't play much. It was Zaidu Sanusi that was playing a lot of the time. Bruno Jimechi, I didn't even think he played in the AFCON at all. But then I don't know how trusted he is by Eric Chell. But you just know that even if Frederick is going to be understudying, even if it's just his second choice, you just feel like he already has a place in the team. For the other names on the list, I think that the biggest one there is Chidozie Awaziem, making a return to the squad. And I don't want to sound controversial, but I feel like we sometimes don't know how to move on from players, right? I know we are very excited for him to be coming back, but I don't know on what basis he's coming back, because probably there could be some other defenders that we could be calling, but I'm excited for him coming back into the fold.
No, he's been playing games.
Do you have an issue with because me personally, for me, even since he made, I think he moved to Nantes this
from
summer.
The MLS,
like his preseason, I've like followed him a little, and I saw that he's been really, really good. So Chidozie Awaziem, I know that sometimes you look at players, but normally if you look at progression from maybe the past 5 years, from the Kenotroy years, Pesero years, and up to now, you see that Chidozie Awaziem has been someone that he may not get so many games, but in the few games where he gets to play, he gets to deliver. He may not be up the pecking order above the likes of Ekong, Bassi, and all of those players, but he's someone that is trusted in case there's an injury or anything. Aside even playing as a central defender,
he's also
he can
very
only play as a right back too.
Yeah.
So that's someone that you would want to have. And for the fact that he has even gotten a good team for himself, playing with Nantes is no small feat, especially playing in Nantes, which is the French League on. So it's a really, really good one that is involved. I don't know which player would you have expected to be.
I don't know. Probably I've got somebody from the MPFL. I don't mind the outing. Yes, I don't mind the outing that we had at Chan.
Fresh from the old Chan drama. You still want to play MPFL player for the Super League.
To be honest, people, I don't want to sound offensive, but you just feel like people like Chidozie are getting the call up as maybe a reward for loyalty. For the
he has the experience. Like Timothy said, he can play across the back four. So maybe that's the.
I honestly do not think skill-wise, Chidozie is the best centre back or defender that we can be calling to the Super Eagles, especially when you are looking at a new coach that is looking to start a new tenure for the next 3, 4, 5 years. I don't think it's Chidozie Awaziem you are looking as a successor to Troost-Ekong or a successor to Olaino if he gets injured. To be honest, this is just me being factual. Good for the vibes, good for the squad unity, squad player at best. But I don't think when it comes to skill-wise, improving the level of the defense, I don't think you would start or put the likes of Chidozie Awaziem ahead of the likes of Igor Ogbu or maybe even Nduka Jr. Yeah, that's even for me. Do you understand? I just feel like I feel like Chidozie Awaziem is like Tochukwu Olueyi with the Super Falcons. Added for the vibes, the energy, because he's a great guy, to be honest. Like personally, great guy. I'm talking about skill-wise. I'm talking about what they're adding. If he eventually gets to the final, when we need a defender to step up, are you very confident about a Chidozie Awaziem coming to step up for Troost-Ekong as somebody that we need in a World Cup qualifier? So great vibes, yes. great team player, yes, very great guy. I saw him at the AFCON up close. I knew how great he was as a great vibes guy. But if you're looking about the numbers, about what defensive skills you are looking to have, like somebody that Nigerians can trust, I don't think it's Chidozia Wazam they are putting in that.
Well, like you said, great guy. We hope he
So,
grabs
Emmanuel,
this chance
I
on his
want
return to the
to-
squad.
So
as well.
even when this list came out, I'm sorry to be the black sheep. Even when this list came out, you could see that the happiness was more of a family thing. It was more of a, we are just excited this guy is back in camp. It's not a, we have gotten a defender that can challenge the likes of Trostekong or the likes of Calvin Bassett. I know you guys already know what I'm saying. Like, it's just a, I'm so happy for my guy. Chidozie is back in the squad. And I don't think that's what we need. Fine, we need vibes in the camp. We need all of that. But when it comes to getting the work done, there are some of those players that you just add them because of vibes. And I don't think that's what we should be doing going forward.
Emmanuel, Shemi Ajayi injured.
Yeah, probably because I mean
okay.
he just made a move to Hull City, so maybe still trying to settle in and stuff. So he's just coming back from an injury, so maybe that's why we didn't see him in the squad. But there's also Felix Agu there who recently switched allegiance to play for the Super Eagles, so very much racking up the numbers if he gets to make it to the final list. So Felix Agu also in the squad. Now moving on to the midfielders, Fisayo Dele-Bashiru makes a return. Looking at the list of midfielders as well, I don't know if anything is missing because anytime the Super Eagles are in camp, there's always this talk about we lacking in midfield, no depth of midfielders and stuff like that. But now we have Alex Iwobi, Frank Onyeka, Alassane Yusuf, Fisayo Dele-Bashiru, Rafael Onyedika, and Chrysanthus Uche. Maybe that's the most exciting name and the dark horse in the list as well. I mean, heading into this international break, I mean, the transfer window is still very much on. I think we can touch on Chrysanthus Uche. We hear that he's close. Wolves are close to signing him from Getafe. And now the interesting part is we don't know his regular position. They are saying he's a striker. They're saying he's a midfielder. Because, of course, when I started knowing him, the first game I saw about him was he played in a striking role. He scored for Getafe. I mean, he scored again this season as well. This is just week 2 into La Liga as well.
Yeah.
So players like this, do they tend to be like problems for managers? We don't know he hasn't come out to say, okay, this is my position. I know him as a midfielder, but Wolves have been linked to him, and whatever links you see, they have been linked to striker Chrysanthus Uche. So what's the excitement for you about this young lad getting into the Super Eagles?
Yeah, sometimes it looks like it's a disadvantage, but many times it can look like an advantage because in games, there are different approaches to game. For managers who are very, very flexible, not the ones that are very, very stubborn like Ruben Amorim, but for managers, that's what I'm saying. For managers that are flexible, sometimes you set up a game. Of course, when you're going to a game, you have a setup that, okay, this is how I want to go. But in game, 25 minutes, you're seeing that this is not working, then you tweak something. 35 minutes, you see that this is not working, then you tweak something. So this is the kind of time where players like this can always give you something. Let's say we are setting up, I don't know, but I think Eric Chell also is that kind of stubborn manager. So you don't know how he's going to probably fit into that role. But the excitement about him is that for someone who is very, very good in moving the ball, Chrysanthus Uche, if you watch him at Etafe, you know that someone who's very, very good in moving the ball. He may not be the best passer. Of course, I don't think we have someone who's very, very good with passing. Maybe just Alex Iwobi. But of course, we know that Chrysanthus Uche is from Etafe, and the way he plays, aside being a striker, like he did say for maybe Wolves, or when Getafe, if he still remains as Getafe or if he goes to Wolves, is that person that can come into midfield. Someone who I see can do that Iheanacho kind of work when Iheanacho was still Iheanacho for the Super Eagles. And yes, it's someone that can do that kind of thing, drop deep a little, probably play behind the striker, make a switch, interconnection between the strikers sometimes, and probably gets the goal. So it may not be coming into it may not be the guy coming in to give you 100%, but at least when he's called upon, you know that he can change a few things. He can also, he can also come in from the right. Is this right? Yes, it can also come in from the right and probably shoot sometimes. So it's exciting to see that I can come into the Super Eagles. And of course, it's not a thing of maybe PR or whatever one thing.
Yeah.
He has played his way into this position.
Yeah.
When he made the match international break when he was called upon. I don't know if he made the final list, but I remember that, I was really excited for him then that, finally got a call up. And now he's someone that has begun to build into getting into the Super Eagles. And if he eventually gets to make the final list, then it's going to be very, very deserving for him.
Scored the winning penalty for the Super Eagles in the Unity Cup as well. That crucial penalty,
Yeah.
always a good moment as well. If you have
Absolutely.
moments like that with the national team.
I think my most exciting name on the midfield list is Fisayo Dele Bashiru coming back after getting injured in the last international break. I feel like he's our most trusted number 10 these days. He's one of our most creative athletes because of the fact that Alex Iwobi is now being tasked with much more defensive duties, playing as a pivot sometimes with Frank Oyeka or Wilfred Ndidi and all of that. And then, the role that he plays with Fulham sometimes is now being played on the left, playing deep, trying to get into the attacking forces. But I feel like Fisayo Dele Bashiru just comes natural to him, as a creative outlet. And we saw that goal that he pulled out of nothing in the last international break against, I think it was against Benin, the one that I pulled out for Victor Osimhen, probably against Rwanda or I can't remember the exact details now, or maybe it was Zimbabwe. But you just have that feeling that something can come out of nothing when it comes to Fisayo Dele Bashiru, and I'm just very excited about the fact that he's going to be back for this one. He has recovered from his injury, still playing for his club out there in Europe, and then back into the squad. So looking forward to him. And that midfield is my surest bet when it comes to the number 10 position.
Yeah, a quick one on that. Still on the midfield, Crisantos Uche. If the move to Wolves eventually happen, good move from Getafe to Wolves in the Premier League.
Definitely, always going to be a good move. Getafe are down the pecking order when it comes to the Spanish La Liga.
Same as Wolves.
But you just have that feeling that you would rather play in a team that is maybe mid-table team in the Premier League than playing a mid-table team in La Liga, just for the exposure, just for what it gives you. And this is a guy that's continued to play his way into the Super Eagles list, just like what Timothy said. So he's continued building the RAS, scoring, getting the attention of all of the people in Nigeria, the coaches and everybody. So imagine now coming to the Premier League where people now get to even watch you more, and then you can now play your way into the heart of Nigerians more. Because how many Nigerians even watch Getafe in the first place? If you are not a sport enthusiast, you would not know there's a Crisantos
Except when they play Real Madrid or Barcelona.
Do you understand? You wouldn't really know that there's a Crisantos Uche somewhere in Getafe, but a regular Nigerian football fan watches Wolves on normal days. So even those that are staking on BetWGB as well might, for a reason or two, also be watching Wolves. So definitely. So imagine it is Crisantos that scores for you. Just call that guy to the Super Eagles for me.
And maybe sign him to your FPL as well. But
Yeah,
Timothy,
FPL,
do you agree? Is it going to be a good move
Yeah,
if it
good
happens?
move because they've lost Matheus Cunha, and then Jürgen Strand-Larsen is
Might
not,
be leaving as well before.
and
before
then
the
he's not always fit for majority of the season for Wolves. So I think it's a good move. Even if Larsen stays, he's still going to form
That's a good angle to look at it
competition.
as
So
well.
yeah, very good move for him.
All right, we'll wait to see if it happens. The news we hear heading into the studio today was that move is being close to being agreed. We hear it's going to be a £17 million deal. So transfer window still very much open. If he comes alive, we'll celebrate him. It's always a delight to see a Nigerian moving to the Premier League where we can
Many
watch
Nigerians have
very
played for
more often
Wolves.
as well.
Okay, no, it's Watford. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not
Shea
Wolves.
Olofinjano, he
Yeah,
played
yeah.
for Wolves. So that's one that came to my head. I just have to bring that one up. So there's not much to talk about the forward line when it comes to the squad. The regulars are still there. The Victor Osimhen, the Ademola Lookman. Interesting to see how his mental state will be heading into the international break.
I think
we
even
know the
needs,
transfer troubles. All is
I
going
think
through as
for
well.
a lot of these players coming to Nigeria is even like the break that they need. Being away from the European drama and all of that, coming back to meet your brothers, going to camp, hearing music, eating the food, coming to the Lagos vibes. Sometimes
Exactly,
can be
the vibes.
the mental space that they need. There was a podcast where I heard Victor Boniface say that if it was possible to go from Lagos to his games every day, he would go, because for some of these players it gets very lonely sometimes when you're in Europe. You're not able to see your guys and all of that. The atmosphere is kind of different. It's just like people that also jackpot as well. Sometimes it gets very tiring being alone all by yourself, and then now imagine doing that season in, season out, going to training, coming back home to basically maybe nobody. So for some of these guys, international break is the perfect time to see their guys, come and talk. The likes of Iwobi, Olaino, the Init boys as they call themselves.
Yeah.
So probably a timeout with the guys is even good for his mental health at this point in time, help him focus ahead of the season ahead, just to get his mental state back in a good shape. Maybe eat some eba, eat some fufu and jollof rice here in Nigeria, listen to some music, be happy, because basically our camp is vibes.
Yeah.
So you always be excited when you go to camp. And
While you vibes, Nigerians are waiting for you to deliver the
Walk
results.
up tickets.
So not just vibing. So make
There's
sure
no play.
you add the results to the vibes,
There's no
because
play.
what is coming for you if you lose is bigger than what you expect.
like
But
this, if we don't make
especially
World
this
Cup,
period.
if you bob your hair gone, if you criticize,
anything what you do, they will criticize. size, you get anything.
If you wear flashy boots, Nigerians go pick on this time also. When you're coming back home this time, just know that
You have to deliver the goods. We're waiting for you.
Yeah.
I will wait to see how that one pans out. Definitely, it's going to be Uyo and South Africa, the 2 games. So hopefully, the Super Eagles get the results. We'll wait for the verdict or the South Africa game where they defeated an ineligible player. There's been no final verdict at that moment. I know Edafe somewhere sitting, still saying the Super Eagles will still not qualify for the World Cup. You know what's happening as well. But we'll keep our fingers crossed. For the attack, the exciting thing for me was a return for Terry Murphy as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, this is the guy who's been injured for a long time. Scored over the weekend for Nice, and now he's back in the squad. And I see him making that final cut. He brings something different, and good to see Akko Adams in the squad as well. So the international break after this weekend pretty much coming up. So when we get closer to that period, we'll talk more and preview the Super Eagles game against Rwanda and against South Africa. We'll go on a very short break once again on the show. When we return, we'll talk about Victor Boniface and field medicals as far as football is concerned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. Still the Gliders on BetWGB TV. Once again, just to tell you about the promo code on BetWGB platform. Just sign up, claim your bonus credits, and as well use our promo code the Gliders for the very best of the platform. Also, bet responsibly. Now, moving on the show, guys. The Serie A kicked off this weekend, and one of the shocking results of the weekend was the loss for AC Milan at home to newly promoted Cremonese. I mean, talking about Cremonese, we have a Nigerian there, David Okereke. We used to have Cyril Dessers and Okereke together playing in that team, but I mean, Dessers now, who's also made the Super Eagles squad, now playing for Rangers as they try to navigate their way into the Champions League. But what a shocking loss for AC Milan. But let's not talk about that result now. Let's talk about a man who we thought might be turning up for them once the transfer window closes. Victor Boniface, so close, that move, but it just didn't happen in the end as a result of reservations from Milan. I mean, we hear from respected sources that he passed the medical, but Milan had reservations on the knee. I mean, this is a young man who's had 2 ACLs. Shout out to OJB Sports. He was on his platform. He had an interview where Victor Boniface talked about his injuries, you know, having to go under the knife, 2 ACLs, losing his mother in the process, you know, stuff like that. I mean, footballers go through a lot, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. But, you know, talking about this move now, how do Boniface move on from this, knowing that the club where you currently plays want to push you out, ship you out? Let me not say push you out, but they've agreed to a sale, a loan and a permanent deal. Now the move didn't happen and you're going back to that same club. So your Boniface, how would you handle this moving on?
Well, it's difficult to say I would handle it as Boniface, because most times when you ask people, like the kind of question you ask me, that how will I handle it, it's difficult because I've never been a footballer before, even at grassroots level, except or maybe street football, which is not what you call a footballing term. But for Boniface, it's going to be very difficult, of course, because I mean, you already anticipated the move. You agreed personal terms. They had an agreement with the club also, and it was something you were eager to do. That was why you flew for medical. But failing medical, and for all of those reasons of, okay, probably his history with ACL injuries and all that is going to be very, very saddening. But for the player himself, he's still a decent player. I don't know if he was really, really, like you did say, if he wanted to be really pushed out of Bayer Leverkusen. I don't know if that was the case.
He's been close to moving to Saudi Arabia at some point. So that tells you they're open to letting him go if it happened.
They're open to letting him go. Doesn't probably mean they are pushing him away. You know, for some players, we don't want you anymore. You can't play for the club anymore. It's a different case. But if a deal comes, then we would agree because of the kind of money that's coming in. But it doesn't mean that, okay, if you are still with the club, they would not use you. So I think what he needs to do, there are 2 things. You have to probably, I think he has a very good agent that can work out a very good deal for him. Maybe a loan deal, at least for 1 year. Then maybe next summer he can now find something very, very decent for him. But I think it's either he finds a very good club for him, or then try to work your way back to the club. Okay, speak with the manager, Eric Ten Hag. I don't know the kind of conversations they've had before, or maybe he wants him in his plans and all of those things. But if he has not told you he doesn't want you as his player, then go have a meeting with him. coach. Yeah, I'm back here and now. Let's get this season done and dusted. And yeah, you'll be welcome back to training. But if the manager has told you that, okay, but you're probably not in his plans, then what your agent has to do, I think there's about 1 week to the end of the transfer window. Your agent has to start working now, making calls, going for meetings, and find you a very decent club. Because if your manager doesn't have faith in you, for someone like Boniface, you do not want to, unless, let's say, all things being equal, Nigeria qualifies for the World Cup. I mean, this is a transfer window that, for many players, it is very, very vital.
Yeah.
This is a World Cup year. You do not want, even many players are praying that they don't pick up an injury. Or if you want to pick up an injury, pick up an injury now. Don't pick up an injury towards January, February. Because once you pick up that injury, it means that, depending on the severity, it means that you're going to probably miss the World Cup. So, for many of these players, they want to get to play. They want their coaches for the national teams to get to see them. Maybe that's not the case for Boniface. But you can't tell. If you don't play games, we don't know who will be the coach. Maybe Eric Chell, if Nigeria qualifies for the World Cup, because I'm not saying it from the perspective of we have qualified, but anything can still happen. So many players are working their feet and ass off to ensure that for this transfer window, they really, really get a good deal for themselves. So you don't want to be that guy who just remain in one club and then you're coming in maybe every game, 10 minutes or 5 minutes to the end of the game. So you want to be at the faces of people. You want to be at the faces of scouts, of analysts, and even different agents for maybe a better deal in the coming season. So 2 things. Speak with the manager. If the manager has not said he doesn't have faith in you, then work your way back into the club. If he has said he doesn't have faith in you or you are not in his plans, then your agent has to ensure that you get a deal, at least a loan deal, before the transfer window ends on Monday.
You know, talking about reactions, so I mean, a lot of Nigerians have been reacting that he's unserious. You know, that he should take care of his life. That you know how Twitter people react, that it's not serious and stuff like that. I mean, what do you make of Nigerians' reaction? Sometimes we can be overbearing.
Nigerians are too reactionary.
Or does it have anything to do with him? I mean, he's not the first player who's failed the medical. I mean, Nabi Fakir comes to mind, Loic Remy as well, then Baba twice, not once in his career as well, failed medicals as well. So these things can happen. But I mean, what do you make of the reaction so far we've seen from Nigerians on social media that Victor Boniface? Do you share any of those thoughts, even if it's slight bit of it as well?
No, at all. I feel like the ignorant ones are always the loudest ones, and that's what happens with Nigerians.
Nicolo 2025.
The ignorant ones are always the loudest ones, and then you can just tell by the reactions on social media.
I have another angle I want to bring this up.
Because you'd always think that people will read through, and we don't read in Nigeria. That's like a very certain. Like, people don't take time to like research stuff. They just see whatever they say. Everybody just wants to get numbers. Everybody just wants to. There's this hunger for fame. There's this hunger for numbers and attention. That and the very funny thing is that I don't rate you if your intelligence cannot bring numbers. If you think that your intelligence cannot bring attention to you, that you have to be negative every time, I don't really rate you. So if you are going to impress me, if you want to get attention, let it be something that is very logical. Something that you said that nobody has ever said before. Oh, you said, okay, this is very mind-blowing. But if you feel like the best way for you to get attention is to always say negative things every time because you want to be a banger boy, nah, that's not good enough. And especially if you have the numbers and you just feel like the worst thing, oh, this guy is posting Amaka is how has that got to do with injury? I mean, people go through the worst. If you see people's feet, if you see Lionel Messi's ankle,
yeah.
Do you understand? So
because Boniface is on, it's pretty obvious. You could see the scars.
So for someone that has gone through the knife twice, trying to make a living for himself, he's gone through the ACLs. I'm close to a couple of footballers, maybe a little bunch, and then you just know what injury does to them mentally, what injury does to them physically. So for someone that has gone through that phase, still able to win the league with Bayern Leverkusen, still able to play top flight football, play European football, I feel like he feels like he's living the dream of 1,000 other footballers, to be honest, because only one footballer in 800 makes it pro. So to have made it pro to that level means that you definitely got something. So for him to have gotten to that stage, he must have gone through a lot of perseverance, discipline, and all of that. And if he feels like the best way for himself to make himself happy is to be able to be posting memes, then that's his life. If he doesn't take his branding serious as much as you'd want, you can only be as concerned as yourself. If he feels like it is not a big deal for him personally, I don't think you should be that bereaved. You can say all you want if he brings up another issue. Probably maybe he's promoting bets or this thing that you can always say your claims. But if this is A, this is Z, we're talking about injury, you're talking about posting on social media. if you have a bias about everything he does, why not wait till that time or just bring it up on normal days? Why are you trying to beat a man that is already down because he failed medical, and not like he failed medical because of his lifestyle? He didn't fail medical because he drinks or because he smokes or because he's not fit. He failed medical because AC Milan representatives feel like they have to make a decision on his injury history, which is normal.
No, we keep talking about failed medical. Did he actually fail, or this is a situation of AC Milan not wanting to take any risk?
It's the risk. It's the
because
risk.
I think
they've not even put out a statement yet.
So the
whether
thing-
they are
the
going
thing-
to-
I mean, the director of football is coming out to talk
think
about
the-
how they try to move on from the deal and stuff like that.
I
So
think
I
they're
won't
going to
sit
move
here
on.
and say failed medical.
He did
We
not
know he
fail
had
the
ACL,
medical.
but
I corrected
it's about Milan
somebody.
not trying to take the risk and
I
getting him on
corrected
the-
somebody online yesterday. He did not fail the medical. He passed all of his medical. What is currently being at play here is medical history of having ACL twice, and
But my issue
footballers-
with them is, do they not know about this
History
medical issue
before.
before they actually agreed a deal with him?
So now I think that another thing that happened eventually that I saw was that after recovering from his ACL injury, I feel like he hired a personal trainer, and I feel like the programs that he went through affected something in his knee, and that's what they saw. I feel
Okay.
like he aggravated the risk of getting another ACL by hiring a personal trainer, and that's where you can fault him. So I feel like there was a rigorous program pre-season. That's why I read there's a rigorous personal program that happened to him pre-season that eventually made it very difficult for these guys to go through with the decision of signing, irrespective of the medical history. And I think that's where the problem was, not just the fact that maybe he was reckless with his lifestyle or any of those stuff that were reading online.
Because I think it has more to do with AC Milan, because I mean Florian Wirtz has also had ACLs, if I'm not mistaken, even maybe more than once, maybe twice as well. We've seen Bayer Leverkusen, and look at the amount of cash Liverpool splashed on him to get him. Because if you look at these things, I don't want to start saying, going through that regular run where people say, because I mean he's Victor Boniface, he's Nigerian, he's a black guy and stuff like that. But you are getting him on loan with an option to buy next summer, not an obligation to buy. So why won't you take that risk? He didn't feel, it's just, I don't know what the decision from AC Milan, I'm not in the boardrooms making this decision, but I just feel it's kind of a bit funny to me that it's something you're not paying outright money, you're getting him on loan, not for the biggest of fees. Just bring him in the squad if it's a player you really need. Now we hear that moving on to other targets. You just have to feel for Boniface. There's a chance to play for one of the biggest clubs in Italy. So link up with your Nigerian brother Samuel Chukwueze in the screen. So you have everything in your head trying to play out, and eventually you didn't get to move. Now, does he have a chance under Erik ten Hag? Going back to that, because they've had a poor preseason and a poor start to the Bundesliga.
I think before we go to Erik ten Hag and his place in Bayer Leverkusen, I think also you have to consider the plans that AC Milan had for Victor Boniface as probably one of the reasons why they are considering not to take this deal. You said option to buy. There might have been some behind the scenes discussion about the fact that he might eventually get to sign. Probably on paper, what we see in the news is option to buy. It might have been obligation to buy. It might just be, we are trying to, reduce our wage structure at Bayer Leverkusen. Okay, go to AC Milan on loan now. Let's share it. Then the next season you move permanently. So they might be looking more long term on their own end, and that's one of the reasons why they're feeling like, I don't think one season will be enough. I can't just you don't know whether Bayern. I don't think there's a place after that one season loan for him back to Bayern Leverkusen, because now it has been made obvious that they don't want him by Erik ten Hag. He's even shipping out a lot of Bayern Leverkusen players, so it might also be a long-term thing. It's not just let's just take the risk. They might just feel like maybe initially our plan is a 4-5 year, a 3-4 year deal that we're looking to give this guy. So if you're saying that we are not able to undertake this 1 year loan, how about the fact, what happens after that? Do you understand? What if he stays fit for this one season? What happens in the next season? What are the chances of the ACL being repeated if we are taking on this kind of risk? And I think that's where it comes into play. So whatever it is, we are not medical doctors. We are not
exactly.
We are not privy. We are not privy to those informations.
Yeah.
There are things that they see. There are patterns, and these are professionals in their field. There are patterns to these things. There are things that they know that we don't know. Do you understand? You can just say, Florian Wirtz is he has had 2 ACL. It might be different from what benefits. It might be different from the treatment. It might be an history thing. It might be other issues as well. So until there's a statement, until we can confirm for sure, I think we should learn to separate what the real issue is and also inform people properly. Victor Boniface did not fail a medical at AC Milan. He passed his medical.
And it didn't happen because of social media.
And it didn't happen because he's posting memes or he's joining TikTok live.
If you have an issue with his social media
Lifestyle,
or
that's a
branding
different
life,
thing
it's a
entirely.
different thing. You don't have to relate it with what has happened.
You should
in
stay
terms
off
of
his
his
phone.
footballing
They are
this thing.
sounding like African parents right now. You don't understand? I'm having a headache. When you not drop your phone.
I saw a tweet from a popular influencer where he said, I mean, there was a time these players during the summer they were going to visiting so many other celebrities as well in other industries. You know, Osimhen going to Cubana Chief Freeze, going to Daddy Freeze. You know, dining and wining together. A tweet was where somebody said that he doesn't sit right with them, with footballers eating anyhow. I don't know if you guys saw that tweet. Going to people's house to anything they give them they eat. You don't know who wants to poison them. You don't know who is who. Now, when this news of Boniface came out, the same person, I think it's Dr. Penking on Twitter or something like that.
That guy says
he now brought back that tweet. Said when I was saying that footballers should mind what they eat and people are going to it has resulted to a failed medical. So people can come up with
that guy
so
actually
many
chats a
things.
lot of shit.
Now you know the handle I'm talking about.
Social media is
He has
it's
bad
wild
takes.
now, and then everybody can speak, and everybody can speak from a place of either knowledge or from a place
ignorance.
of stupidity.
And the Boniface doesn't care because this guy is still going on TikTok live. Is I saw a comment
But my own is
talks on Fanstripe. Shout out to what they do on Fanstripe. He was talking about the move how Boniface failed the medical, and Boniface commented, "Sheon, I never hear say the D don't go off." He now laughed with a laughing emoji and all that. They now corrected the post again. He still commented and said he now put another laughing emoji. So that's the kind of guy is. I don't know if we can change that. This guy is still on TikTok live, still having fun. He's on so many things.
So wait, Emmanuel, now me I've defended Boniface, right? There's also the part where truth can also exist, right? So I saw a post yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday where he came online to say that this guy, I'm not serious. I signed from Bayern.
And Fabrizio picked on it.
So me, I feel like those parts are like the excessive parts. Those are the parts that are not a good look. Me, I'm not against the social media use the banter. I can be against it because I feel like you can be getting more.
So where do you stand? Because you're not against, but you can be against.
I understand.
I want to say my part. My part is that the way I want a footballer to look is personal to me because of the job I do in football as branding. I feel like you can be getting deals if you position yourself in this such manner online. But I'm not also against him if he feels like he doesn't need all of that and this is the way he wants to make himself happy. Going online and doing all of these things is what makes him happy, right? That is also correct. My way is correct. The way a footballer should look and brand themselves. You've seen the way them Ronaldo are getting deals and all of these guys just through branding. The likes of Jude Bellingham and how his parents are managing their image. Right, I like all of that. That is my ideal way of a player using their social media. But if this Victor Boniface style is what makes him happy, and it feels like all of this I don't care about all of this and his management is okay with it, I like that as well. That's good for him, but don't now also overdo it. Do you understand? There's line of professionalism that he should not be crossing, and I don't think the way he went about debunking this news or trying to address what it is, the trollings by media, is the right way to go. Do you understand? I don't like all of those. I never make them and they play for Bayer Leverkusen and one of the biggest club, Milan. They fight for my signature. If he is the can come clowns. So it was
clowns
that clowns that Fabrizio now picked on. As Fabrizio wrote clowns,
like he was referring
you are
to
now still trying to double down, which could have been avoided in the first place. If you did not go and post nonchalantly on your status, what are you trying to? It should not have been picked up if you didn't write all of that.
Yes.
Do you understand? So you're not even playing in England. If you're playing in England, the kind of things where they talk for you. Do you understand? So I like his social media use in the way he's catching his screws and all of that, just like the Snapchat boys. But there's a limit. There is where you want to keep the limit for. So that's my own stand. There should be a limit on the things you want to say. It's not professional enough. I think what he just did yesterday, what he posted yesterday, is in the same group chat as Francis was saying, if you use email, Oyinbo sign you.
Yeah. That was needless.
So that's the too much part. So I've made my stand. So we cannot be logical. Social media is not the reason why he failed medical, but also Victor Boniface shouldn't use social media to the extent of blurring. That line is very blurry. The line of cruise and non-professionalism is a very blurry line. I should know where to keep it professional.
Yeah, talking about that post, he had to reach out to Fabrizio to take it down because Fabrizio misunderstood it. He thought the clowns everywhere part was referring to Leverkusen and Milan. So, but I mean, we know who he was referring to as clowns. The naysayers who've been reacting overboard on social media. So, I mean, Fabrizio had to take that tweet down, and we all understand where he was coming from.
Taking tweets down, everybody has seen it.
Screenshots.
You've taken it down,
screenshots on my group chat.
Even when I saw it, I had to go back to Boniface, to see if I could see.
Everybody has seen it. Like there's screenshots everywhere.
The funny thing is that somebody on a group chat that I was thought that Boniface reached out to Fabrizio and took a screenshot of his chat and shared to media.
Nah.
You understand? So like there's a lot of misinformation. So why not just avoid the entire situation? Like now people, how many people do you want to correct? He's not on the socials again. He's probably deleted the tweets and all of that. But the screenshots are flying around. Somebody was telling me that this guy was spoiling career. He reach out to Fabrizio, come screenshot the chat, send down to people. Do you understand?
Nobody even knows.
I was not even explaining. I sent the screenshot. I said this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this is the progression of how things happen because me, I'm knowledgeable. If I wanted to chase clout as well, I can just
use it.
Do you understand? So just don't give people the benefit of that kind of clout chasing in the first place.
So the most important thing for us Nigerians, or for we that are supportive of our own players, is to see how he picks himself up from this. I mean, we know we'll be hearing more of this during the international break. I'm sure a couple of Nigerian journalists who will pitch this question to Boniface to tell us what really went down, what really happened, during the medicals with AC Milan as well. So we keep our fingers crossed. And Victor Boniface, still a couple of days to go in transfer window. We don't know if there will be another move on the cards or if he's going to settle at Leverkusen until January for the meantime. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one. We'll go on our final break on the show, and when we return, Arsenal broke the internet with Eze. We'll hear from Mikolo what he makes of that signing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Gliders on Bet WGB TV. If you've stayed with us till this very point, we want to say thank you for keeping it locked with us on the show. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for every of our content with Dish Style. Just before we go into the final lap of the show, it is still the Gliders. As you can always see on your screen, use our promo code to join the Bet WGB platform to claim that bonus credit to enjoy the very best. The promo code once again is Gliders, GLIDERS, and enjoy the very best. I will always say it, bet responsibly. Guys, back on the final lap of the show. The transfer window still very much on, but it seems Arsenal winning the window. They've made a couple of decent signings, and I think this recent one is the one that excites most Arsenal fans the most. They are trying to build they seem like they are building a Numuna squad in Arsenal. There's one area, there's Madueke, and now there's Eze. It's growing. Exactly from this now to this. People is enjoying every bit of it. But I'll come to you last on this. Let me start with Timothy. What does Eze bring to Arsenal? We know. I mean, injuries brought about this move. Kai Havertz, we heard, is injured and stuff like that. So what does he bring to that Arsenal forward line?
Firstly, Eze brings in more competition for the likes of Odegaard and maybe the likes of Martinelli as well. He also brings, I think Edafe said it on his show, he brings in scoring of free kicks. At least he can guarantee you, if they are very, very close range to the box, he can score free kicks very well. I've seen it with Crystal Palace. He even scored one against Chelsea on match day one, which was ruled out because of one rule I do not understand. But I mean, that's one thing he can bring you. He's a good goal scorer. He's someone who can pass the ball very well. He's someone that's good on transition also. So I mean, he has everything that can give Arsenal that can take Arsenal to that level in which they want to get to. So it's left to the manager to know how he wants to use all of these players to get the squad winning the Premier League or winning the Champions League. I don't know if they want to settle for winning the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup as well. So it's very, very good. A decent signing, brings in competition. I mean, they're going to play so many games. There's the Champions League, there's the Carabao Cup, there's the FA Cup, there's the Premier League, which is the longest. Even the Champions League now is long as well because, I mean, there's that place of playing it in a league format, which makes you play more games. There's also the place of when you get into the later stages of the competition, you want to progress. So all things being equal, maybe they could be playing about 12, 13, 14 games in the Champions League. So that's even lengthy enough. Couple it with the 38 league games or 36 from 2 games that have gone down in which he's going to play. So there's a lot of games to play if Eze is going to come into the team. Like there's a lot of games to play if Arteta is going to really see that Eze is going to settle and blend into the team. But of course, I expect Eze to get into the team very, very swiftly and very, very smoothly. I mean, the likes of Odegaard have not shown that he's ready yet. I've not seen that form of readiness from Odegaard.
That's
yet.
the captain of the team.
Yeah, I've not seen that form of readiness from Odegaard yet. Some Arsenal fans tried to. I mean, I'm a very big fan of Odegaard. I used to like him, but towards the end of last season, I just stopped supporting because I felt this was not the player I expect him to be. I mean, delaying transition, romanticizing of the ball too much, not knowing when to shoot, not knowing when to pass is something that you need to. I mean, as a captain, you need to be decisive on that kind of moment, and that's one thing that distincts Eze from Odegaard for me. And I think that Odegaard, I think Eze is going to come in, hit the ground running. He can play on the left, he can play towards the middle, and there's a whole lot that he brings. He's good with set pieces, he's good with scoring, and you know that kind of player is someone you want to have in your team. And considering the amount of games that will be played, definitely everybody will be happy.
And it's that kind of signing that you don't look as in same light with the Mosqueras, the Norgard, who you see as squad options. But Eze is the kind of player who can slot right into the starting lineup for Arsenal. Mikolo, I don't know when you saw that confirmation of the signing. We know there's a storyline to it, the backstory, how he was it rejected or was it?
It was released.
Released, rather. How did I forget that? Released, from Arsenal and now back with the squad. I mean, when you pay that amount of money to get a player like Eze, so he slots right into the lineup. So where do you see Eze fitting in that Arsenal team?
Definitely fits right in. I feel like Arsenal's problem are in 2 places. 1 is transition, 2 is in breaking down opponents. Aside that,
so this sorts both?
Yeah. Aside that, Arsenal like almost a perfect team. Defensive stability, yes. Midfield, yes. Scoring, that's where the problem is. Transition, that's where the problem is. Breaking down a tough opponent is where the problem is. Because, as I said, Odegaard is struggling with indecisiveness. He doesn't shoot on time. He doesn't combine well with other attackers, apart from always wanting to be one-sided. He's one-directional when it comes to Bukayo Saka. That might also be because of the fact that might also be because of the fact that our left-hand side is almost dead on arrival since for 2 seasons now. Martinelli is almost as clueless as it comes in the last 2 seasons. So maybe that can change now. Maybe that can change now. But yeah, it seems
people forgot Trossard. Does he still bring anything to
Trossard is not a 90 minutes kind of player, and he's very decisive. He comes in and is very effective when he comes in. When you are chasing a game, you can always trust on Trossard to shoot the ball from anywhere. But you need more reliability when it comes to, like, if you want to play him over the 90, there's the defensive part, because a game is in phases, right? And Trossard only performs well in the final third phase of a game. So imagine a game where they are chasing you. The first 10 minutes when the opponent is on you, 30 minutes, maybe when you're not the best of shape, you need people like Martinelli that can always walk their socks off for the team. For Trossard, it is when you're on the offensive, when you know that you're the one in ascension. That's when you need the likes of Trossard to always finish up the ball. So for Eberechi Eze, I feel like it solves the issue of transition. It's one of the best transition guys when it comes to this. It's a natural thing. And I think that's what Arsenal has been lacking in a while because of Martin Odegaard and how indecisive he has become over the last couple of years. When he was at Madrid, when he was at Real Sociedad, he used to be that guy.
Even his early days at Arsenal. COVID year when he came on loan, and the first year when he signed for Arsenal, he was very good on the transition. So I expect Eze to be that guy that leads on the transition. Eze can score. He arrives in the box. He also arrives in the box to score. Scored 20 goals for Crystal Palace last season. And we also saw what he did in the FA Cup final. Very decisive player against Manchester City. And I think also breaking down opponents, Eze also comes into the fray. He's very good with the ball. He's also very great with creating chances.
Against low block teams.
You saw his combination over the last couple of years with Crystal Palace. Started with Wilfred Zaha, went on to Michael Olise, and then this last season it was him and Mateta, and they eventually delivered the trophy to Crystal Palace. And that partnership is something that you want to see, especially now that Arsenal have a recognized number 9 that also wants to shoot and also very hungry for goals. So I feel like Eze is as humble. What I wanted to tweet yesterday, I even forgot. Eze is as humble as Bukayo Saka off the pitch, but on the pitch there's an arrogance to his football. He wants to take on opponents. He wants to show you that he can play. Bukayo Saka sometimes backs down. You understand? When they mark him 2-3 times, he's as humble as it comes. You know, the natural aura, God's child that is coming from all the. He doesn't bring it onto the field. He doesn't bring that anger, and that's what Thierry Henry spoke to him about that stuff. I think 2 seasons ago about he has to take on that. I'm that man in the squad, and that's what Ebere Echeze brings to the squad. Ebere Echeze as well as Gyökeres. You could see how hungry he was. Gyökeres scored 2 goals and he wasn't even very excited. You know, he has a target for himself. Those are the kind of players that you need. Players that want to take on things, that want to take on responsibility in the squad, and I think that's what Ebere Echeze brings to the squad. Very good signing. I'm very excited. I think there's a different level of joy that comes when your club signs a player that you really personally like, and I've had that over the couple of seasons. The likes of Mesut Ozil, the likes of Alexis Sanchez, the likes of Declan Rice, and now Ebere Echeze. These are players that I really like outside, even when they were playing not for Arsenal. Do you understand? So for Ebere Echeze, I remember ranting to my friend all through last week that I don't know how Arsenal are opening their eyes for Ebere Echeze to sign for Spurs after signing
because that move was so close,
close
to happening.
I was telling my friend that this guy signed Kudus, and you are allowing them to sign Ebere Echeze, and we are just there, and we are spending 65k on Madueke, and this guy is there. So if Havertz didn't get injured, you would have comfortably just signed Madueke for the amount to sign him for and allow Eze to go to Spurs.
Because I always thought it was going to be a no-brainer. Spurs and Arsenal, who is going to pick.
Do you understand? Easy. So, and also, I feel like this is also why you need players that actually love your club. So over the signing, I've got to realize that before signing for Spurs, before things started to get serious, when it was getting really serious, Eze pulled off his phone and called Mikel Arteta and are you going to allow me join Spurs? Like, and then he just, spoke to them, and
a lot happens before transfers.
A lot happens. Like it was very close
behind the scenes that we don't know.
He knew he needed to leave Crystal Palace. It was time. It's 27 now. It's time to step up to that team that is like a top side. And then he just called Mikel Arteta, and Arteta said, you know what? Havertz just pulled up injured, and we're going into a team meeting, and then we'll be able to get. And as soon as they were done with that meeting, I think they just spoke and said it's going to be done, and Arsenal is going to chase. And obviously, when it comes to personal terms, Ebere Echeze has seen himself 1,000 times.
Easy.
And the videos that have followed, guys, I've spent.
I always love it when clubs do announcements and they incorporate legends into it. Yeah. It's always exciting to see. So, and this one gives
you've seen Ian Wright, you've seen Thierry Henry, and it's just really beautiful, very emotional, because this is a guy that is living his dreams.
Yeah.
And I understand what it means to like live your dreams, especially like almost 20 years after and all of that. So it's really. It's just something that you have really pictured. It's just like myself going to the AFCON or the World Cup. Like, it's something that there are things that will happen to me that I'll be excited, but I'll not be surprised, because in my head I've lived that moment a lot of times already. So that's what it feels like for Eze.
Timothy, quick one. So Arsenal ready to leave the Premier League? No more excuses.
Let's go.
Signings done everywhere. No more loopholes in the squad.
They're about to sign Piero Nkapie also from Bayer Leverkusen. So I think that's a
Nkapie again.
Yeah, Arsenal they are really showing that they mean business. So this is
Andre Beta, the biggest signing of the summer.
This is something that they have to take on from here. There are no excuses. Luckily for them, they've started well. This is the way you want to start your season. Your rivals Liverpool have not played, but you're already on top of the table right now. Man City have dropped points. That's your biggest fear. And then maybe Liverpool. You don't know what Liverpool's game will be like later today. So you have gone ahead and you want to continue to progress in that level. And their signings have also been very decent. And on the Eze part, for me, the beauty about it is, there's that connection. Maybe it's just me. There's that connection when is that in the national team, there's a few players in which in your club, if you look at it, there's the likes of Madueke, there's the likes of Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, and Eze. So there's that partnership that when you form it in your club and you carry it to the national team, or when you form it in the national team and bring it to your club, is always helping both parties, either the club or the national team.
Just like Merino and Zubimendi as well.
That's the beauty about all of these things in terms of player transfer or player playing for different clubs.
All right, wonderful to see. Up next for Arsenal is an away trip to Anfield to take on Liverpool. Fantastic game to look forward to.
Make you play this thing for speaker again.
And for Liverpool, they take on Newcastle. Another fantastic.
I think Liverpool Stadium.
Are you going to sign Isak?
I think
we wait to see how that one.
I think Liverpool Stadium this season is a death trap. for any team because of the emotions that are currently going
Exactly,
on in that stadium.
exactly,
Because I mean, it's always gonna come. Like no matter how late it's gonna happen, like that spirit.
Yeah.
That everybody's.
And it's always a good game. Liverpool Arsenal at Anfield. You expect goals
It's
to
not a good game
happen.
for me.
And always entertaining. But
That
just
stadium is
before that, there's Newcastle. A battle on the field, a battle off the pitch.
The battle of the
Isak will be watching at home.
Isak
Newcastle.
baby.
I've been seeing a lot of stories from Newcastle.
They say anybody that wins will keep Isak.
Joelinton and Bruno. They are ready for war. You know, to break legs and stuff.
Anybody that wins will get the custody of Isak.
No, not to digress. I think Newcastle are the biggest losers here. Maybe we'll talk about it on a different show on the financial side, but Newcastle are the biggest losers, honestly. Isak has made it known he's not going to play for the team. And when players have made decisions like this, even go out on social media to say things, you know that he's not going to play for you. So just cashing on the player and let him. The money Liverpool have dropped is not small money. I mean, let the player live and let everybody be happy.
Well, transfer window still very much on. I'll be surprised if Liverpool go up to 150. I mean, 110 is enough, maybe 120, but 150 is a stretch.
How much
is it your money?
How much did you sign with? You signed with 150.
No, it's not up to. It's not up to.
100 and something.
115, 120 there about.
115 is 115. Yeah,
this is. I mean, Isak.
Isak is bigger than Wait now.
But 150. Well,
for a striker,
we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one, guys. That's as much as we can take on the show. The NPFL also kicked off this weekend. Interesting results we saw across various centers, and I mean, one of the shocking results was Shooting Stars losing at home to Bayelsa United. Not a good start for Ogala and Awero. But I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint, as you can see on your screens. The rundown of results: Remo Stars and Rivers United kicked up the weekend, 1-1 draw at the MKO Abiola Sports Arena. Then, I mean, well, not too many goals. It's just match week 1. Still one more game to go. Niger Tornadoes will take on Nasarawa United. That game won't be played in Kaduna. Seems like it will be played in Ilorin because Niger Tornadoes have been ordered to play their home games.
Impressive results for Warri Wolves.
Yeah, Warri Wolves as well. The new boys are giving it a great fight as well. So
the thing that yesterday's games and Friday's game have shown me is that this season will be very tough and points can be picked anywhere. This is not a season of we can win our home games every time.
That's happened over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, but it just shows that there'll be so many interesting games and results this season, but we hope to see how it unveils itself.
I think before we leave, we have to shout out to Barao FC, newly promoted side, and they had over 16,000 fans in their stadium. Was really, really good. know that's really great. Northerners are always going to turn up for their teams. We've seen the likes of Doma and Ngombe over the year. The year they came into the league as well, and now to see a privately owned side. Also, I think it's also community work, right? Because after they gained promotion, they had like a road parade for their promotion, and they're already reaping the benefits, having 16,000, maybe paying or not paying fans, but at least they're able to like give us very great visuals. Having fans in the background like that is always going to do well for our league, and I really wish them all the best. They have 1 point now. They were able to keep Enyimba quiet at home, and then let's see where everything goes from here. Shout out to Ikorodu City as well. Always going to be Kwara United's boogeyman.
Same result last season as well.
Yeah, same result last season. Gained a point on the road, and now they've started pretty well as well. Hopefully, they don't go 5 games like last season. Where teams were trying to steady. Maybe they've passed that one to our.
They started very well. This is this kind of start you need. I mean, the fact that you did not lose.
Yeah, it was 1 point on the road as well last season.
No, they lost first 3-0 to Kano Pillars.
Kano Pillars, rude awakening. Well, Ali Kandil, you might watch this video. So start well with Ikorodu City and go on to the very end of the season. So that's much as we can take on the show, guys. You've heard the opinions from Mikolo, you heard from Timothy. So drop a comment, tell us what you think, if you agree with their thoughts, if you share same thought with them. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also turn on notifications. We have so many contents for you, from the shots to the show properly, and so many contents that will be coming along your way from the familiar faces you see on your screens every periodic time on the show. Joy will be very back on the show in no time, and also as we go on, you'll see the rotations on set as well as far as the gliders is concerned. My name is Emmanuel Sebastian. I've done this alongside Mikolo and also Timothy. T will come away again next time. Enjoy the rest of the week. Stay safe. Bye bye.